He hasn't done anything to me! I swear Lucy is making a liar of me. Oh, I've lost my place. Oopsie daisy. Lucy is making a liar of me once again. He would never. I'm Muggle-born, remember? Do you know what he told me last night? He told me that I'm less than a human being. Will he try something with someone he feels like that about? I hate myself for lying, but Ron's reaction makes me breathe a little easier. His face calms down a little, though his voice is very shaky with anger. He can't talk to you like that. I know he shouldn't, but he does anyways. I say, my voice raising hysterically. I've been holding it all locked within myself, and now it's all spilling to the surface. It never ends, ever. Every day he comes here to torment me some more. I thought he'd taken everything but my parents. My heart breaks just to say the words. Every moment I think about them makes me want to die of agony. Ron pulled me into a hug, and I rest my head on his shoulder, determinedly pushing back my tears within myself. He pulls back and looks at me. His blue eyes are so much clearer, so much more colorful than Lucius's piercing gray ones. I can look at him and feel no fear, just safety. We'll get revenge for it, Hermione. I promise you, he says with absolute certainty. As soon as we get out of here, we'll make him pay for what he's done. I just don't say anything. I just nod, knowing deep inside me that it's all hopeless. Even if we could get out of here, which I doubt we ever will, I've already proved that I can't take revenge on him, even if I tried to. I had my chance, and I blew it. I was so worried. Ron seemed to struggle with the words out. I didn't know what had happened to you. They never tell me anything. But Dolov said that he told you I was here. He did, but I didn't know whether to believe him. I thought he might be lying to shut me up. I can't tell them when they're lying or not, 'cause they never speak to me. His voice is hard and bitter. All they ever do is bring me food and occasionally take me on walks around the garden. There's a garden? I ask incredulously. Yeah, he says, looking confused. Out back. It's not a garden, actually. It's strange. I think it's inside a cave. That makes sense. He shakes his head. But you must have been to it. No, I say quietly. I only ever leave this room when they want me for something. He looks horrified. God Almighty, what do you do with your time? I breathe out a little tiny, hysterical laugh. I wait for him to come. I say truthfully, everything boiling to the surface. He comes every day to torment me, whether it's for his own personal enjoyment or his duty to Voldemort. It makes no difference. Every day he's here, torturing me in some way or another. Ron's face got scarlet with anger. What does he do to you? I can't be completely truthful, so I leave some parts out. I have to, for Ron's sake. And so what I say is actually quite far from the truth, just because it's far too simplistic an explanation for what's really going on. He beats me up, I say quietly. Or he uses magic on me, whenever he feels like that day, usually because I provoke him. My voice starts to rise hysterically. I can never keep my mouth shut. I can never just shut up and let him win. It carries on, never leaving it alone until he finally feels like he's won. If I could only keep quiet. But why should you? Ron says, his own voice raising with rage. Why should you let him win? Why shouldn't you try to fight back? Because he has complete power over me. I walk around the room frantically wiggling my fingers. He controls my entire existence. Every moment of my life now centers around his whim. What else can I do but as he says? You can continue to fight back. Ron grabs me by the shoulder, shaking me. He's not God, Hermione. He might as well be. I shake his hands away, and I turn to the wall away from him. You don't understand. He said that once that he'll never let me escape him. And he's right. Because even if we do get out of here, I'll never be able to forget him. His face will haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life. I'll never be able to go out for fear of him. I'll never be free of him. Ever. He spins around and grips me by the waist, holding me tight and staring ferociously into my eyes as he brings his hand up to rub furiously at my cheek. I cannot read the serious right now. Hand up to rub furiously on my cheek. I promise you, we will get out of here, he says fiercely, quietly. And when we do, I swear that I'll protect you. I'm going to look after you. The door bangs open. I turn my head quickly, and my stomach contracts in on itself. I see Lucius standing in the doorway. All the memories of last night come rushing back to me, writing a blush of shame across my face. He freezes when he sees us, when he sees Ron's arms around my waist, his hand on my face. He freezes like a granite, harsh, stony, unmoving. I instinctively back away from Ron, who lets go of my waist, but Lucius doesn't even look at him. He just glares at me, cold, hard sneer on his face. How touching, he drawls. But he's not smiling, of all things. But he's smiling, of all things. With malice, of course, but he's still smiling. Or perhaps I should say, how nauseating, Weasley. I know that your family is the lowest of kind of scum, but that does not give you a pure blood an excuse to dirty your hands on my blood. He points his wand at Ron and goes flying back into the wall behind him. He cries out as his body slams into the stone and my heart rips for him. We weren't! Lucius, stop! I storm over to him and try to wrench his wand away. Whoa, touching his wand? I'm not even trying to be graphic. Like, that's how you get fucking punched right in the face, dude. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Hold on. But he reaches out and grabs me by the throat, still pointing his wand at Ron. I choke in his grasp, and he looks into my eyes. All I can see is pure loathing, as he, for a moment, lets his guard down. Don't you ever call me that again! It was not in an English accent, in the least. Don't you ever call me that again! He whispers harshly, tightening his grip around my throat. I gag and gasp, my throat contracting and expanding under his grip. He sneers at me in disgust before he throws me down to the ground. My ankles twist underneath me painfully as I fall to the floor, gasping for air. I watch his feet move away from me, not daring to look up into his eyes, face for fear of what I might see. And you, Weasley, you come with me. You shouldn't have been allowed here in the first place. I watch two pairs of feet move across the ground. Lucius strides in front, Ron stumbling behind him. Wait for my return, mudblood. And if you haven't got up and made yourself a touch more agreeable by the time I get back, well, I assume you can imagine the consequences would entail. The door opened. Hermione, I'm sorry. Ron's voice wavers in the air. The door slams shut. Only then do I dare to look. I peer out from under the fuzzy brown haze of my hair. They've gone. I shiver and close my eyes. Tears roll down my cheeks, tangling into my hair. I can't handle it. I just can't handle it anymore. I've never felt so confused in my entire life. What right does he have to be angry with me? every right in the world. No, he doesn't. He does not own me. Perhaps if he tried to say anything, I could bring up last night, but no, that would be against the rules. Whose rules? His rules, my rules. It's all the same, isn't it? Thought you said he doesn't own you. The door slams open, and he was quick to come back this time. I thought I told you to get up before I came back. Huge burst of pain crashed down my spine. I pressed my lips together and tried to stumble to my feet, but my ankles hurt and I fall down again. I pressed my lips together and tried to stumble. I already read that. Sorry. My hands tangled. His hand tangled itself in my hair and brushes me upwards, dragging me over the wall. Okay. Over to the wall and slamming me against it. You should not read a book like this. I need to calm down. My hand locks around my throat and I have to look at him. I've got no other choice. My eyes are melting with tears, but his are hardened with anger, squinting, narrowed. I'm sorry, I whisper. His face curls into a malicious grin. You have a great deal to be sorry. Of things you should be sorry for, he drawls. Being born. That you should be sorry for. Parading yourself as a witch. That you should be sorry for. Your insolence, your pride, your unsufferable, supposed bravery. He pauses for effect. I smile of his remaining firmly in place. But in this instant, you're going to have to be a bit more specific, I'm afraid. What exactly are you sorry for? No, I won't play games with you anymore. She thinks that she's not me. He looks deeply into my eyes. His mind sweeping into my own, pulling out my thoughts like a syringe to pull out blood. You believe you need to apologize for your behavior, Weasley? He laughs, mocking me. Well, yes. I see how you might wish to apologize for that. You know how I feel about pure blood mixing with a mud. But if you think that you need to say sorry because the thought of you and him makes me angry, then you have no need. But we weren't doing anything. Harsh breath. I like how he's like all this shit, and then he's all like, you think that like you two together makes me angry. You're fully like, don't apologize for that. And it's like, that is exactly what is happening here. You are angry like a little bitch because you like her and she is with someone else. It has nothing to do with him being a pureblood. You couldn't give less of a shit. You care that Ron is getting at that ass. End my quotations. Jesus H. Christ. He needs to, like, get a grip. Like, he's a serious, straight up adult. Like, he needs to realize that he's got it bad. I'm sorry, is that my own opinion? I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way? Anyways. A harsh burn whips across my face, and I reach out my hands out to feel the swollen welt that rises on my cheek. He reaches my hand away from my face, replacing it with his own. A smile. He smiles as I wince as his fingers trail over my wound. I have absolutely no interest in your relationship with him, he says quietly. He brushes his hand over my cheek, rubbing his thumb over my lips. A cool smile curling his own as I shudder at his touch. He's going to go too far. I'm going to cry. You see, Mudblood, you belong to me, he says quietly, and you know it. I see the truth staring back at me in those defenseless eyes of yours. He reaches down for my face, curling his fingers around my wrist and bringing it up to the wall next to me, pinning it there. You know that I haven't taken control of you. You have handed yourself over, given me complete power over you willingly. He flicks his wand over my arm, and a harsh burn snaps across me, tears collect in my eyes as I feel my skin swell. He sneers as he moves his face closer to mine. Weasley's